Thank you very much, Ms. Mklauli Nanceba, Minister, CEOs, media community, all other dignitaries who have opted to attend, and also the audience in the country. If I may so allow, I may be allowed to go through the statement, the joint ministerial statement on the SASSA social grant payment by Postbank. The Department of Communication and Digital Technologies and Social Development, the agencies, the Post Bank, the South African Post Office, and South African Social Security Agency, which is commonly referred to as SASSA, extend their sincerest apologies to social grant beneficiaries who have encountered difficulties accessing their grants this past week. The two departments and their agencies share the pain of beneficiaries, and in this case, the elderly and person with disabilities who solely depend on the provisions for their daily livelihoods. As ministers and the two shareholder representatives of the entities, we have seen the need to take the nation into confidence about the root causes of the recent challenges that have affected the social grants payments during the month of September 2023. On the background, on Tuesday 5th September and Wednesday 6th September this year, Postbank experienced intermittent system challenges at ATMs and retailers, leading to failed withdrawal attempts by some grant recipients for the old age and disability grants. The intermittent system challenges were as a result of a systems upgrade the bank is introducing to provide a better service. The system challenges led to transactions of beneficiaries, resulting in the transaction incomplete errors because of the system's communication timeouts. The transaction incomplete errors are common payment systems errors within the banking space. However, they normally go unnoticed. They normally go unnoticed due to automated reversal functionality. The systems challenges that affected Postbank unfortunately impacted the availability of the auto reversal functionality. Regrettably, this resulted in some social grants beneficiaries that were due to be paid on the 5th and 6th of September this year, not receiving their social grants payment on time. We would like to reassure our social grants beneficiaries, the public, and all stakeholders that the system's challenges were, as a matter of fact, resolved on the morning of the 6th of September 2023. The Postbank system has been working optimally since the afternoon of the 6th September this year. We would also like to confirm that the payment of all other social grants, which involves a much bigger clientele number, was concluded on the 7th September 2023 without any challenges across all national payment systems, channels including ATMs and retailers. More than 4 million individuals were paid their social grants money by Postbank through SASSA Gold Cards on the 7th and 8th September 2023. However, there might be few beneficiaries who have not yet received their social grants. Unfortunately, though due to the automated reversal not working on the 5th and 6th, a number of clients, mainly the elderly, were unable to access their funds for a prolonged period of time as a manual access had to be implemented to credit their accounts. The current state of affairs, this is what Postbank is now contending with, which is the source of understandable nationwide concerns relating to September 2023 social grants payments. As ministers, we saw the need to address concerns the reversing of funds into the accounts of beneficiaries that were impacted by false transaction errors affecting some beneficiaries on the 5th and 6th of September 2023. Postbank has implemented a manual process to reverse funds into the affected beneficiaries' accounts. Originally, this affected approximately 600,000 beneficiaries, which translate to around 10% of the 5.3 million beneficiaries that are paid their social grants via post-bank SASSA Gold cards. We would like to confirm to South Africa that the majority of these accounts have now been corrected and clients have been able to access their money. Postbank has completed more than 500,000 funds results to date, and the affected beneficiaries have gotten their social grants payments. However, it is important to acknowledge that due to manual processes involved, the process is time consuming, which has taken longer than desirable period for clients that were impacted since last week to access their money. Government assures South Africans and social grants beneficiaries that all social grants beneficiaries that have not yet received their social grants payments will be paid their money in full. We encourage our clients who are still encountering challenges with accessing their grants money and require support to contact the Postbank call center on 0800535455, 0800535455, or send a text message to our WhatsApp line on 073-806-1631, or email to pbcapital@postbank.co.za. We have also encountered some attempts to defraud the system by individuals who would have received their funds trying to get a double payment. Our system are very thorough, and therefore people will not be able to defraud the system. Instead, what they are doing is clogging up the system and thereby delaying the process of dealing with the valid reversals. We condemn these attempts and further warn those people to stop this, as well as be reporting attempted cases of fraud to law enforcement agencies. Updating of SASSA Gold cards. We assure social grants beneficiaries that September payment challenges are not at all related to SASSA Gold cards expire. The challenges were as a result of payment IT system issue that has since been resolved. SASSA Gold cards remain valid and operational until December 2023 in accordance with the extension of the validity of the cards that was granted by South African Reserve Bank. Social grants, ladies and gentlemen, social grants beneficiaries are encouraged to ignore false information peddlers that tell them that SASSA Gold cards have expired and are not valid. The department and their entities will regularly update SASSA beneficiaries and the nation on the details of SASSA cards replacement program and unveil the new Postbank SASSA grants payment cards. On the IT system improvement program for Postbank, before we conclude, ladies and gentlemen, we wish to update the public that the Postbank has made tremendous progress towards concluding its banking IT systems. Its banking IT systems improvement program, which will ensure that it operates from secure and robust banking IT environment that is on par with all other commercial banks. This development will also ensure that system challenges of this nature are a thing of the past. Government remains committed to establishing the Postbank as developmental state bank. In conclusion, on behalf of both agencies, government wishes to profusely again apologize kamantsomang re kope tshwarelo batho ba eso sicele uxolo to stakeholders in the payment value chain for enduring these challenges. We express our gratitude for the support they provided during this time to all recipients. Our gratitude for the support they provided during this time to all recipients of social grants that were affected by the technical challenges. Government is determined to continue building a capable and development state within a vibrant democratic system to benefit the poorest of the poor. The Post Bank and SASSA, as state agencies carrying pro-poor mandates, are necessarily adjoined by this government determination. Post Bank and SASSA staff will be in communities this entire week to assess progress on the payment of grants and to assist recipients who may require further guidance and assistance. Siyaphinda futhi sithi kubantu bakwethu basincede basixolele konakale xa sikwimizamo yokulungisa. Enkosi.
Thank you very much, Minister. Colleagues, we will then go to the Q&A. We will start with those colleagues who are in-house. As we did say that we have the two ministers of the two departments present, as well as the two CEOs. And when you do ask your question, please just indicate who you are, which media house you come from, and who the question is possibly directed to. So we'll start with the colleagues who are in-house, and then we'll also then take questions from Vanessa from the online platform. Any questions, colleagues? All right. You'll be the first one, and you'll then be the second over there at the back. All right. Okay, then you'll be the third. All right. Sisi, you can start. You can just press your mic so that you can be audible, introduce yourself, and thank you very much.
My first question is to the minister. Just with the statement where you said you thought it necessary to take the nation into your confidence. Just in terms of the timing, day 10 today, why has it taken so long for the ministers to respond to this, given the scale of what has happened? Secondly, I don't know if this is directed to the ministers or maybe to the CEO of Post Bank. Why were those statements by Post Bank and interviews were done where Post Bank was saying it was fine? Meanwhile, on the ground, everything was clearly not fine and things are still not okay.
Thank you very much, Shloni. You can go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Mobile Medala from Asian Africa. Mine is just clarity in terms of how many people were affected in terms of not receiving grants.
Thank you, Mobile. You can go ahead.
Bishop Asante from SABC to the Minister of Social Development and the CEO of the Post Bank. Is there a political fallout between the board and perhaps the minister that may have been at the center of the glitches that we are seeing and the non-payment that is continuing? As we've seen reports making the rounds, are they legit or what's really happening behind the scenes?
Thank you very much, Patricia. We'll start with, before we go to the ministers, Vanessa, do you have any questions that are online?
Yes, we have questions from the online.
How many are there so that we can just make a determination how many we want to take?
We have about 4, 5 questions.
All right, I think we'll take the first 3 that have been asked in-house. We'll start with Minister Kungubele.
Thank you very much. NCA is Sony. Okay. Why so long? Well, it depends how you look at it, Sony. Since this matter happened, we've been communicating almost nearly every day. Our officials have been on television. You might have seen some of them. But at this level of political leadership, you await up until a particular point in time. You come with a more bulk when you've got quite a significant amount of work done, more report, so that we don't always come. Most of the time, it's them who communicate. We come here because at the end of the day, our people have elected us to take charge of this In other words, to check, to ensure that whatever officials were saying, there's an alignment with regard to what they were saying. So it has not been long, but the only difference is that as politicians were coming today, not because communication is starting today, but a strategic and a heavier report. I'm not sure if that responds. The other one is, I think, how many people I think CEOs will deal with that. Last question, which although they said Minister Social Development, I was very clear that one is coming to me, that it has something, as a suspicion that there's a tiff between the minister and the board. Is this a function of that tiff? I am not sure. I don't know. All I know is that in that regard, we have issued a statement. I'm sure some of you must have got it, with regard to why the board has been has been removed, because of a number of governance issues that are there. How those governance issues are related to this, a lot of work needs to be done to actually connect that. Of course, if Post Bank has got governance challenges, they have the potential to lead to this situation. But this one that we're talking about now, it's a normal transition from a system to another. It would happen whether I was in good relationship or bad relationship with the board. There would be no relationship. I thought it is important to clarify that. I'm not sure if I've left any. Oh yes. No. You in the statement that we issued today, maybe it's good to clarify that. I know some people might have leaked, some board members might have leaked their responses. What actually happened, is it the day before yesterday? Yes. It is a culmination of an attempt by the minister to intervene in dealing with governance challenges that are in the bank, which the board had to answer for. For whatever reason, board members, knowing the decision that was possibly going to be taken in the AGM today, they opted to preempt that, in my view, and leave. Just to say one or two examples. One of the fundamental problems has been the continuation of an illegal contract, which was paid no less than 140 million, and without a justifiable explanation why it was allowed to continue. As a matter of record, which I know is transparent, is public, you know, Postbank has had, a disclaimer for no less than 2 years. No serious-minded nation can allow a financial institution to tolerate that. Normally, financial institutions are held in the highest regard as compared to any other institution. So sensitivity and intolerance towards poor governance in those institutions, we must be found to be aligned with the bank, whether it's a prudential authority, the Reserve Bank, or fiscal, and so on. So the state of governance there, a serious mandate leadership would not allow to continue it like this. And somebody had to accept the responsibility. In this instance, in our view, are clear. The board had to accept that responsibility. Why they opted to resign before we take a decision in the AGM, they are better placed to explain that. I'm not interested in a lot of other things they say about how ugly I look and when do I smile and when do I cry. I'm not going to respond to those. But there's a fundamental issue on the table, the state of governance of Reserve Bank. This country said, we want to build a state bank that ensures that poor people have got access to bank services, which they do not have to current traditional banks, whether it's SMMEs and so on. And we've been singing this song for a long time. We will be working together. That will include the minister to turn around that situation, to make sure that finally a state bank which is professional, which is comparative in terms of leadership, which enjoys credibility that even international investors can invest in, is turned around. That promise cannot wait anymore, because we are delaying the misery of our people. At the same time, we are delaying the translation of their aspirations, especially those who are marginalized.
Thank you, Minister. Ndicela uzibulisela ngokwami. Njengoba besitshilo ukuthi ndinguNikki Mbengashe, like they've said, I'm Nikki Mbengashe, the CEO of Postbank. I think, firstly, let me start by reiterating the apology. We are very sorry for what we have caused on the ground. We recognize the impact, we understand it, we relate to it. I personally relate to it, having been raised up by a mother who benefited from SASSA grants. And therefore, I know Uguti, how it feels not to get your money on time. And just maybe to go straight to the question, because I'm very mindful of the time. The question was the statement that we made in the interview that we did, or ENCA, saying everything is fine. We did say that because the question related, are the systems stable as you are interviewing us? And we still maintain that statement that the systems are stable. The issue that led to this has been resolved. It was resolved on Monday already. And then on Tuesday, we had a timeout of 8 minutes, which then was also resolved. So as of the 7th, sorry, I say Tuesday, it was the 5th and the 6th. As of the 7th, late actually on the 6th, the system has been stable and it is still stable. So that was the first question. The second question, how many people were affected? And again, I want to emphasize that the issue that we're dealing with, and the issue that we have been dealing with since the 5th and the 6th, has been the issue of reversals. Those who had a false honor, as you call it in banking, meaning that the system read that the transaction was complete and yet it was not complete. Therefore, when you go back to check your balance, it seems as if you did withdraw the funds. So those are the customers that we're talking about. We're talking about 10% of the 5.3 million, which refers to about 600,000 customers. And we have, as the minister has also shared, that we have gone through those numbers and we have reversed the money to the majority of those customers, to an extent that we do believe that almost 90% of that 600,000 has been resolved. In fact, even when I say 90%, I'm probably being careful, because in my view, because we have a systematic manner to check who has that needs the reversal, and therefore we manually reverse that account. So in our view, that the majority of the customers have been resolved. What we are starting to notice, which is actually the cause of clogging the phones and also perhaps delayed to those who had valid inquiries, is that people, those who are trying to get double money, are calling the lines, which we are able to identify, but also those who probably want to understand, is the money in the bank, have started to call the very same line, which is why we have extended currently our way of communicating with the community, which is why we've provided not only an email, we've provided the capability of a WhatsApp, and we've provided the capability of a call, so that we allow people to do a balance inquiry if they need to, but also those who might have still valid reversals required to be able to communicate with us. I hope that answers the questions for me.
Thank you very much, CEO and Minister. We'll now go to the questions that are on the online portal. Vanessa.
From the Herald, has a question for Minister Z. We spoke to a few SASSA recipients in the Nelson Mandela Bay area earlier today, and it seems like the matter had not yet been resolved. The government Mbeki post office seems to be the biggest problem. Can you please weigh in? Naila Ibrahim from News 24 Business. Question for Minister Ngubele. What is the minister's response to the resignation of the board members of Postbank? And is there new appointments for the chairperson of the board and other non-executive directors? William Horn from Netbank 24. To Minister Ngubele. What is the likelihood that this era will not be repeated, and can you ensure that it will not recur? The second question from William Horn: is the Post Bank still the best entity, in your opinion, to handle these essential transfers, given its challenges and recent resignations? We have four more questions from Sine Sipo from Times Live. For Minister Dungubele, will Post Bank face penalty for the payment delays? And for the Post Bank, do you trust the payment system upgrade, as it could not do the automatic reversals within the said 24 hours? How will this prevent it next month? The following question is for both ministers. Was Minister Dungubele and Minister Zulu briefed on the payment system problems prior to the failure? If so, when alerted of this, what steps were taken to prevent it? Another question for both ministers. The beneficiaries that ended up incurring debt due to late payments are asking whether there will be some reimbursement for them. Is this something the departments are considering? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, colleagues. Just to indicate that I think that the question from the online person regarding to Postbank was responded to in the previous round. We will also just ensure that we share the statement with them. It actually comprehensively covers all of the issues that were raised. But we'll start with Minister Zulu.
Thank you very much for that. May I start where Minister Gungubele started, sayiqala nje i-press briefing, okokuthi sesishilo nakubantu abasemakhaya ukuthi sixolisa kakhulu ngalokho okwenzakele. Sixolise ngoba siyazi ukuthi abantu emakhaya baphila ngayo le mali abayithola kuhulumente we-African National Congress. Sisho futhi nakubo ukuthi senza konke okusemandleni ethu ukuthi i-system nama-system esiwasebenzisayo singazitholi kule simo sokuthi kuthiwa kune-glitch, kuthiwa kune-technical challenge. Leyo-ke yenza ukuthi ngiphendule lo mbuzo obuza ukuthi besazi yini before ukuthi kuzoba nale problem. Sihlala vele sibhekile ukuthi makushintshwa i-system esiyibonile ngesikhathi se-COVID-19, uSASSA mayezama uku-implementa i-system entsha ezobhadala u-350. Sizokhumbula ukuthi nangaleso sikhathi seka-350 kwaba khona isikhathi lapho saphuma khona sachaza ukuthi i-system ama-system esiwasebenzisayo akuyona into nje ovuka ekuseni uthi uyayiswitcha on and off. Yi-system e-complicated ngale ngasemuva la abantu ne-technological know-how, ne-technological knowing ukuthi i-system isebenza kanjani. Sihlala sonke isikhathi sibhekile ukuthi kuyowenzeka kube khona into yokuthi kube naleyo system failure. Kule sicela ukusho ukuthi le besingayibhekanga ukuthi kuyoba i-system ezoba ne-problem, kodwa-ke i-system entsha sifuna ukuchaza ukuthi kubantu basekhaya ukuthi uhulumente ngaso sonke isikhathi mayezosebenzisa i-technology, mayezoshintsha i-technology, kuyowenzeka enkathini eziningi ukuthi i-system vele ingabi very efficient ekuqaleni, but after amalanganyana siyaphutha khona ukuthi si-improve leyo system. Kulo mbuzo-ke besinga-expectanga i-problem le esihlangene nayo, but immediately yenzakala baye basazisa. Now umsebenzi wami as a minister nomsebenzi ka-Minister Gungubele as ministers ukuthi mabeza kithi bazositshela ukuthi nansi i-problem, asikwazi ukuthi size sizokhuluma bengasichazelanga ukuthi le system bazoyilungisa nini, bazoyilungisa kanjani, so that singezi la sizotshena abantu into engekho right siphinde siloku sibuya futhi sizokhuluma. Size la ngoba sesine-confidence ukuthi le ndlela abasebenze ngayo ukulungisa ama-system, nathi sesibone ukuthi kuproper ukuthi size la sizochaza. Siphinde-ke futhi sithi as ministers umsebenzi wethu is to have the executive oversight of lama lama institutions esikhuluma ngawo today. Yinto esingayenzi ngoba kune problem. Yinto esiyenza on day to day basis. Kungako nje uMinister Mondli Gungubele ethi yena uphethe ireport eyenze ukuthi aze athathe isinqumo sokuthi iboard namhlanje nje uyayisusa ususeni namhlanje orizo susenamhlanje lokho ukususa kweboard ngicela ukusho ukuthi akuyona into ovela uvuke nje ekseni uyenze uthola ama reports baze bakuchazela ukuthi sihluleke la nala 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 ene kune governance eyenza enikeza amandla uminister ukuthi mayebona ukuthi ingathi iboard ayingisi la ngifuna ukuya khona ukuphi la sifuna ukuya khona la sifuna ukuya khona ukuthi grant recipients kufuneka bakwazi ukuthola imali yabo on time kufuneka bathole ukuthola imali yabo closer to la behlala khona kufuneka bakwazi ukuthola imali yabo immediately iSASSA idlulisela ePost Bank or idlulisela nakwamanye amabank kufuneka abantu bayithole imali yabo immediately. Lastly, as a Department of Social Development, we've always been committed to the resolutions and the decisions about the post office and the post bank. If it wasn't for that, we would not be here today doing this joint communication that we are doing, because from a broader perspective of the developmental state of South Africa, the importance of that post bank is very important. And while we are saying it is important, we are also saying they must communicate to us as quickly as possible every time there's a problem, because Sibeliva Uguti, we must always have a plan B, which will make sure that our people don't suffer in the way in which some of them have suffered going back and forth. As to paying them back imali transport for going there, it's not something that we can talk about here today, because we deliver ama-social grants as they are. Asinawo extra esidini. Makufuneka sithi the money that they spend on transport and all, akuyona into esingama la sithi nje cha sizonikeza imali, because there are also due processes. There's budgets, there's all of those things that we have to take care of. Otherwise, sila united as a government, united as ministers, with a political will as ministers to lead these entities, but also with a political will to hold these institutions accountable, or the agencies we are talking about, we have to hold them accountable. Thank you.
What do I say? I think Neba has already clarified. If colleagues read the statement, but I want to repeat that. We accepted their resignation, which preempted Section 71. The day before yesterday, we factored an item called Section 71. They know that that item deals with removal. If you check when did they leave and when was the factoring of that section was, it was before they took a decision to leave. We accepted their resignation. What is the reason? If you read our statement, it speaks about the state of governance. It's another briefing on its day. We could do that at length, but all what it says, it's about a post bank which has tolerated a number of governance imperatives were not acceptable for quite some time. And it happened under their leadership. Are we casting aspersion on their capabilities? No. Maybe banking is not the area where their strength is. We want people whose strength is in the banking area. Somewhere else, they could be good men and women, because some of them I really respect, if not all of them. Now, repetition, I'm sure the CEO can deal with that, because I'll be treading in some area which I'm not a specialist. Is post bank the best? Let me tell you this. As long as hundreds of thousands of SMMEs in South Africa have got no access to banking services because of cost of banking that they cannot afford, as long as ordinary people who are very poor, who have by a month about 100 rand, cannot use the current existing banks because of the inaffordability of the cost of doing so. It is up to the Post Bank to declare whether it is the best bank or not. And I can tell you, an opportunity for making it the best bank lies exactly in there when those needs are met. So it has to be. That's why some of the drastic decisions we're taking. Because I've already heard, Minister, some article, I think it's on Sunday, where people were saying we are delaying a state bank because some of us have got a deal with the top banks so that we can enjoy some privileges. And I want to say to them, neither my president nor myself who have got that deal. That's why we are intervening now decisively so that the Post Bank becomes a dream state bank that our people have been yearning for. Right? The other issue is okay, I also want to dismiss this myth. I think maybe because of the manner we run things, the manner we manage things, the word developmental has been bastardized as meaning inefficiency, meaning indiscriminate entitlement, right to things you have not worked for, and all those kind of things. The word developmental is a scientific word. Developmental economists have actually factored it in because it calls for an inclusive improvement of human life, sustainable and inclusive improvement of human life across all strata, not an exclusive improvement of life. That's the word development. And therefore, it calls for stronger efficiency, for stronger leadership, for integrity and credibility. This word developmental is a great word. Other countries have applied it. China has done it. China has lifted no less than 800 million people from poverty because it's a developmental government. It's doable. You go to Nordic countries, Sweden, and a number of them. This word developmental, we've allowed it to be bastardized because of some of inefficiencies. It's a critical word for inclusive societal improvement. Lastly, somebody was asking, what did you do when you heard about this? If you check, I issued a statement. I'm sure the minister issued something to say we are asking the Post Bank to do everything in its power to make sure that these things are happening. And we said, we will be briefing you if you check the statement. By the way, I like if you check the statement, says on Thursday, we will be talking to you. What day is today? It's Thursday. Oh, please agree that we do stick to our promises.
Thank you. I'm only going to ask answer to the question, will this happen again? Maybe firstly, the context of why we even did the change. Our aim and our strategy for the bank is to ensure that it is a bank that fares well with every bank, commercial bank in South Africa. We want to improve, we want to ensure that we deliver consistent service, a reliable customer experience, and therefore every change that we do is aimed at doing that. By the way, this was not the first change that we've done as a bank this side of the year. It just so happens that this one did not necessarily happen as planned. And again, I know that some who might understand technology are going to ask, were the relevant tests done? Yes, the relevant tests were done. So we have a commitment, I think, as an executive of the bank, to ensure that something like this does not happen again. But having said that, with my experience in banking, having managed IT in so many institutions, things like this do happen. We absolutely, I cannot stand here with an understanding of how technology works and say 100% something like this will never happen again. But the only commitment I can make is that we will do everything in our power to prevent something like this from happening again. That's the only promise that we can make. Thank you.
Minister Gumubele wants to come back without being allowed to come back. Thank you very much, ministers and CEO. And just to reiterate the point that was made by the minister earlier on, that the staff members of Post Bank and SASSA are on the ground this entire week to ensure that they assess the progress in terms of what has been reported today, and also beneficiaries to assist beneficiaries and guide them as well as and when they do need assistance. Colleagues, we're going to go to a last round of questions. Okay, Shoni, I see your hand is up. I see two my hands at the back. Okay, then that will be the third one. Vanessa, are there any other questions online? Because this is the last round.
We have 3 more questions.
3 more. All right. So let's start with, you can go ahead.
Just thank you again. What is the message to people in lines at the moment? You've got people in the nation at the post office, they're accessing Post Bank, and they've been there since, some of them since last week Tuesday. You say that it's system errors, you've resolved them, and I understand the technicality and the semantics of it, that people still don't have their money, and to elderly people, they still don't have their money. So what is your message to people who are still waiting 10 days later for their money?
Thank you. We'll take the gentleman right at the back. I can't see him properly. Yes. That's you. Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Aserido from Capital Life. I just want to quickly ask the ministers and the CEO if you are aware and what is it that you are doing about the glitch, so-called glitch that happened. Some officials, especially security officials at the post office, using that as a way to make money, telling people that come this side, I'll assist you so that you don't go through the very same thing that you went through last week or last time, meaning that this time you get your money right away. That was nice for me, $50 or 50 rand. Number two, thanks so much, Minister Zulu, for using vernacular most of the time. I'm sitting here, Kokwana Kosa is sitting in Guyana, listening to Guyana Community Radio, as an example. What is it that you are planning or that you have done so far to convey this message to such people that are sitting out there not having the access to the media that currently is covering this kind of presentation? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So yes, it's him, that gentleman next to Basega. Yes, that's you.
Good afternoon. I am Koko from News 24. I'm hoping Minister Kongobele can just expand quickly on the 140 million that he spoke about of a contract that was irregular. What contract was it, and are there plans to effect consequence management regarding that? And then number two, maybe both Minister Zulu and Minister Kongobele, their views on calls by the opposition parties for grant recipients to start using more of them, to start using private banks instead of the Post Bank, considering that about 40% of all beneficiaries get their grants from the Post Bank. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. You can go ahead.
The name is Chaba from Jacaranda FM. My question is around.
Sorry, who's just spoken now?
Contact with the Post
So,
Bank.
sorry, it's News 24.
Okay.
Sorry, Mashaba, you can go ahead.
If it is possible for either minister to just give us clarity on whether or not the current glitch has to do with the court matter pertaining to the payment switch involving the Post Bank, Electronic Connect, and Infosys technologies. Whether or not we're sitting on the sidelines of the repeat of the CPS matter in 2017, where the agreement between government and a private entity affects the payment of grants.
All right, thank you. We'll now go to Vanessa.
These are the last 5 questions. The first one is from Harold, Brandon from the Herald. He says, given that the glitch has been resolved, can Minister Gungubele verify if there's a backlog due to the glitch? Siphelele Dludla from Business Report. Can Minister Gungubele clarify the cause of the payment glitches? Because in a statement he says it was a system update, while his deputy, Mr. Fidima at GovTech said it was a cyber attack. Nonele Nkotana from Englobo FM. As the beneficiaries of the SASSA grant said that they are facing the challenge of not getting their money on time, this does not make the department. Does this not make the department and the agency unreliable for the people of South Africa? What can be done to prevent damage like this from happening in the future, as the number of people affected is standing at 600,000? Sinesi has a follow-up question from Times Live. Can Minister Gungubele explain the 140 million rand contract that seemed to have been an issue between his ministry and the Post Bank board? What was it about, and what is the current status? Follow-up question from Nina Ibrahim from News 24 Business. Would Minister Gungubele be able to explain what was found within the KPMG report and why it was considered damning? Thank you.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Just so that the colleagues that were asking the online questions, I think the question of the backlog is sufficiently covered in the statement where we report about the 600,000 and that over 500,000 of those have currently been addressed. We'll start with the Minister Gungubele. Oh, sorry.
Let's start here.
Okay, all right. Okay, yes. Great. So we'll start with the CEO of SASSA, Ms. Memela.
Sanibonani, ngicela futhi uxolisa kubomama ogogo nomkhulu abangazange bathola imali yabo ngendaba yalenkinga esibenayo. Ngiyaxolisa kakhulu. Sonke sikhubekile ngaloko kwenzekile. The issues that I wanted to respond to the question that was asked as to why is it that 40% of our clients or beneficiaries are the ones that get funding or get their grant from Postbank, whilst 60% of the clients or beneficiaries actually get their money from private banks. In terms of our current framework, we allow our beneficiaries to be able to get their grant in an environment of their choice. So we didn't push the clients to anywhere, but the clients voted with their own feet in instances where they felt that they could get a better service. So it is the client's choice for them to be able to go to a bank of their choice. The two methods of payment that currently exist is you will get paid through a supplier or a supplier that is decided on by SASSA, which in this current framework that we have is Postbank, or you can get paid through an alternative payment mechanism, which would be a bank of your choice. So it's the clients that have actually made that choice to go and get paid elsewhere. The other question that was asked was as to whether we're going to be able to go out there and communicate in other languages, singakhulumi ngesiZulu kuphela. Yes, Postbank will be going to different community radio stations, but also in relation to us, all our staff are actually on the ground in different regions so that they can communicate to clients what the challenges are, but also if clients want to make a different choice, for clients to be able to decide as to how they want to get paid. I thought I should clarify on those issues. So all our regional executives, together with their staff, are on the ground to make sure that they are able to communicate to the beneficiaries. Thank you.
Okay. I hope I do not miss any questions, but I have logged two that were directed at me. The one was that what message will we then say to someone who is still waiting today? And the other one was, are we aware of the officials, the post office officials, who are seemingly abusing people, making claims that they could help them, calling them around the corner? I think the first one, angeke sikwazi ukuthi siphinde sixolise kakhulu, because I think sometimes in situations like this, even when you say sorry, it may seem as if it's not enough, and we recognize that. But having said that, it is the only thing now we really want to express. Firstly, ukuthi siyaxolisa kakhulu. Okwesibini, the second thing is that siyapromisa kumuntu wonke ukuthi uzoyifumana imali yakhe. Akekho umuntu othi epeya indodla abe kanti akazoyifumana imali yakhe yale nyanga. That we can guarantee. Having said that, I do want to emphasize that we believe that the majority have gotten their money. If I were to quote stats of what we're seeing that's coming through the call center, almost over 80% of what we get is people claiming that they haven't got their money, or people querying, and rightfully so, because we do believe that people don't want to waste their money going back and forth. So sometimes they do have to call somewhere to go, is the money in my bank? Which we respect. I just wanted to say that. So the second question was around, are we aware of the post office officials that are making such claims? No, we are not aware of such. It's the first time that I'm hearing. And we condemn it. We condemn it completely. And then we want to emphasize to people that no one has any right to promise you that they will give you your money. If imali yakho isuka ku-post bank, uyifumana ngekhadi lakho lase-SASSA, that's the only place imali yakho uzoyifumana khona. If uyifumana phakathi e-post office, ufuneka ungene uyoyithola phakathi e-post office, that's the only place uzoyifumana khona. If uyifumana ki-pay point, that's the only place uzoyifumana khona. Akekho omnye umuntu onokupromisa ukuthi unemali yakho. I just wanted to emphasize that to everyone who's listening.
Yeah, thank you very much. There was just one question that was asked earlier on with regard to the post office in Nelson Mandela and Govenbeke. I think what we are also doing as a department is to make sure that in our oversighting SASSA, we make sure that the officials, because I think the one other thing that has to be appreciated is that not everything is happening at national. People live at district level, and that's why we have national, as in the minister, the CEOs, and everyone. Then we have provincial offices. And in having the provincial offices, we are expecting also the MECs and the HODs to be hands-on when it comes to such challenges. Just this morning, I spoke to the MEC, MEC Fanta of the Eastern Cape, raising her concerns about what was happening and asking me, obviously, to make sure that I speak to the CEO of SASSA, and I give them the assurance and the confidence that we are dealing with the issue, because they face the grant beneficiaries on the ground almost on day-to-day basis. So strengthening the whole system at national, provincial, and local government is very important for us. The second issue I want to deal with is the one of the supposedly post office security officials extorting money from the grant beneficiaries. That we'll have to condemn in the strongest terms. And especially because we are dealing with people who, by the way, have already borrowed money from wherever they are to go and be able to get the grants. And then somebody just becomes a tsotsi along the way. We've had to deal with this during the COVID-19, by the way, because this is what was happening. They would come and be asking people, give me 50 rands or give me 100 rands. We had to deal with that by ensuring that we strengthen the system inside, because if we don't strengthen the systems and the accountability throughout, then you'll have these people who take advantage of our people. And I would like to say, makunomuntu nje ohlangana naye nawe uyi-grant beneficiary ecela u-50 rand kuwumuntu oholayo la esebenza khona, just report it to the police. In fact, I think CEO, we might start looking at different ways of curbing it, because those that are on the ground can be able to assist. One of the things we did during COVID, we got volunteers to be on the ground to speak to the people, because at the time there was an issue of wearing of the mask, keeping the distance. We got volunteers whom we paid at the time, because we were working together with NDA to make sure that happens. It's one of the things that we have to keep on doing to improve our systems. The other issue was about the agency and the department, and it's whether it has been reliable. I can say this without a shadow of doubt. Ever since we started paying social grants to the majority of South Africans who really need the social grant, and we've been paying this grant irregardless of color or creed or gender or where you live. This government has been paying this grant to every beneficiary that needs to have the grant. We've been doing that without doubt. Also, we have been paying this grant. Ever since we started paying the grant, we have not been failing to pay the grant on monthly basis. What might be happening in between, like now we've had this challenge that we have, are those technical challenges that we have, and in the process also of improving our systems. OCO is right, because we must also say to our people, so that they don't come back tomorrow and say, but you said. We must be able to say, we want to keep on improving our systems. And in the improvement of our systems, we are bound to come across these challenges. What is important is what we do about those challenges. Lastly, as I'm sitting there, I just received, because some people at home are keenly listening and wanting to know whether their grants are going to be paid, those ones who have not been paid, and we have assured them. A member of a parliament from the ANC just sent me a very disturbing video of somebody that is abusing either a grandmother or a mother, demanding the card from the mother and physically abusing the grant recipient. We would like to say here, we condemn in the strongest terms. This money is not meant for anybody else but the grant recipient who has gone through the due process and has been approved to receive that grant. And as a department, we are very much also aware of the fact that the grandparents, the mothers, some of the mothers, the money that they get, they stretch it out to more than just themselves. Many of families depend on this grant, and therefore for anyone to be so abusive, physically abusing umamakhe aze awele lapha phansi adimanda ukuthatha ikhadi kuye ngenkani, yizo lezi zinto lokhu esicela ukuthi umphakathi usazise ngalama case afana nalo. I want to also say we are aware ke gore ra tseba ho na le batho ko matlong a itseng who always take the grant. Ra tseba hape hore ho na le di women, young women who take the card away, ba siya bana ba bona with the mother or the grandparent or something, ba tsamaya ka di card and they go do other things instead of ensuring that that card is given. We are looking at that as a department, both SASSA and ourselves. How can we improve it in such a way that nobody, even if they are able to take the card, they're not able to abuse the card? Lastly, isicelo lesi kubantu abasemakhaya. Cabanga nje nawe masuzibona usumdala, usufike esikhathini sokuthi uthole igrant yakho, uthole ukuthi abantwana bakho yibo abeza endlini bazokushaya bakushayele ikhadi. Mangabe lento niyayibona yenzeka, sicela ukuthi nihambe niyoreporta emaphoyiseni, nathi sizozama ukuthi sisebenzise ama-social workers wethu, because one of the reasons why Minister of Social Development, Minister Gungubele, I've been saying, we are not going to be able to deal with our problems unless we know what is happening, house to house, street to street, community to community. We are not interfering with the private lives of people, but when the government extends support to people through the grants that are supposed to help people, we cannot stand by and allow some people to be abusive to the grant recipients. Thank you.
I know I have stimulated your appetite for curiosity when I said 140 million paid illegally. It's natural. The next question, to whom? These matters are very sensitive matters because they tend to end in court. We always avoid willy-nilly making use of the names of the people. Remember, the illegal contract is the object of our difference with the board, but our difference is with the board. Now, we do not want to target these other guys who are not at war with. We are at war with those who illegally allowed them to participate. You must also understand it's not a straightforward matter. The other one asked, is the money going to go back? Sometimes the laws of our country, even if the money has been illegally paid, it is always checked whether it added value in one way or another. So it becomes the court's decision. But it doesn't change that you will be charged for illegality. No matter your money made me to have an upper grade suit than the one I had before. So I'm trying to appeal to colleagues that I will avoid mentioning the names of the people involved. All I can say to you from the KPMG report, there's confirmation of illegal processes, illegal payment, illegal contracting. Those facts are there. Some of them are from the AG. You can Google for yourself, you'll find them, because AG report in South Africa is a public, what we call. It's a public document. On the opposition, your question was very tricky because you didn't name which part. I was praying that you name a part. Now, DA. Now, so I am not surprised. You see, the reason we are different parties makes us speak about triple B, makes us speak about housing for all, makes us speak about social grants. Generally, their constituents in its bigger numbers does not have the problems of exclusion. And they do not understand the meaning of exclusion, by the way, generally. So we who understand the importance of both the iniquities of the past and the importance, the exclusive past and the inclusive future, we as the ANC, as the governing party, we combine those. To them, what matters is the future. What happened in the past is none of their business. The past gave us majority of people excluded from education, excluded from access to development, to housing, to skills, to many things. That's how we understand. And then the past dictate our policies. So we're different from them. So we're not surprised. We wouldn't expect them to actually pray for this because they see it from the point of voting, not from the point of the problems these people are confronted with. That's the general difference. That's why we are different parties anyway. On the issue of whether it's a cyber or upgrade, it's an upgrade, as a matter of fact. It's a matter of fact. It's an upgrade. The records of cyber, I don't have those facts at my disposal. I would actually leave it at that point. Lastly, bendifuna ukuthi ke kulaa mntu kuthiwa ngumntu waseNgcobo uthi sawunithemba kanjani. Sifuna ukuthi kuye silapha sizokunika ingxelo kulo lonke ilizwe ukuba siyiqaphela kanjani le ngxaki, kwenzela into yoba indlela eyahlukileyo niyiqaphela ngayo nisazise, sisebenzisane kude kufike le mini yokokuba ezi zinto zime ngendlela eza kwenza uba wonke umntu ubomi bakhe bulawuleke ngesidima. Enkosi.